Hey guys, this is Brian with Prokashi.com back in Lawrenceville, Georgia. And today's video is going to be a quick little follow-up video to the IMO, Korean Natural Farming IMO Part 2. Last week, last Saturday, we went ahead and did the second half of the video that shows how you can take your IMO1, turn it into IMO2, take that into a solution that you can use, put straight onto the ground, or you can stabilize it. And then we took IMO2, added it to the substrate of wheat mill run, and we made IMO3. So today's video is just going to be a quick show and tell to see how things are going, how they're progressing. Here in Lawrenceville, we had a bunch of nights where it's been down below 0 centigrade or 32 degrees Fahrenheit. And the temperature being so low kind of makes things go slow. The more temperature, or the higher the temperature you have, the more biological activity you have. And since IMO is a living product, we're going to go see what it's been doing since we've had these cold nights and really mild days. So here's my pile that we made last week. You can see my little 2x2 box. I had to water it today. I didn't water it all week, and I put just a little bit of moisture to it. Let me pull back some of the stuff here. There you go. We got a bunch of ants. They tend to love this stuff, but there's the IMO3 right there. And even though we've had a couple nights where it's really cold, you can see, let me see if I can get a little close, that's the white mycelium. That's what we're looking for. So even though it's much colder than it would normally be when I make IMO, the IMO is still doing good. And the reason for that is part of this process is just like a composting, it generates heat. And that heat helps sustain this a little bit. Another thing that helped out is that I took that box that I have here. Let me cover this back up real quick. Took my box that I have here and I covered it with a used piece of window glass right there. So I kind of made a little hot frame, or a little greenhouse in effect. I just covered it over so one corner is open, the other corner slightly open. I get a natural convection, and that was what I used, since I'm in a cold climate, to simulate some warmth like I would have in the summertime. Pull this back over and check this other corner real quick. See how the IMO is doing over there. There we go. You've got in here, it's hard to see on the camera, but it looks like little spider webs. And in the one corner, it's really taken off. In this corner right here, it's really taken off well. Underneath here, it really took off down in the corner down there. I don't want to disturb it too much. You can see it, maybe, there you go, in the corner right here, where it's pulling away a little bit. You can see the actual growth right there. So, interesting thing, when I did this IMO video, I told you nothing goes to waste, and the rice and the other materials that were still left, I put into my normal composter. And I looked at it before I started the video, and I want to show you something really cool. Our IMO here is doing pretty good, but you might be surprised at what it's doing in a normal compost pile, or a tumbly bin. A lot of people want to stick to their traditions. They want to continue to use their normal composting methods that they're familiar with. And I'm not asking you or suggesting that you abandon what you know or what you have already, but just incorporate perhaps some Korean natural farming techniques or IMO into what you're doing. And let me show you something really cool. So let me walk around the corner and give me just a second. Okay guys, I'm back. Let me show you what the leftovers, the rice and the brown sugar and all that I strained out from my IMO2. Let me show you what it looks like in a normal compost bin. This was kind of cool, pretty interesting, at least it was to me. Here's my store-bought tumbly bin kind of composter, and look inside. That, ladies and gentlemen, is basically IMO3 of sorts. IMO 3.5. Let's give it an original name. This here, if you look at it, was all the rice. And let's see if I can zoom in just a little bit. All I did was just take it out of the strainer and threw it in my compost pile. But look what it's doing. That is the white cottony stuff. That stuff is awesome. So what we did here, instead of taking liquid IMO2 and putting it with wheat mill run like I did in the other box, I just took the leftovers. Remember I said it always has a nutritional value. We can always use it for something. So what I did is I threw it in my compost bin, my little tumbly bin, and sure enough, it started to take over, even though what's in here, or what was originally in here, is not rice bran. It's not wheat mill run. It is still an organic matter, and look what it's doing. It's really taken over. So if you wanted to, you could, just kind of skip a step. Nothing's really written in stone with Korean natural farming. It's all about growing the microbes and growing them any way we can, and I even got something growing in here in my compost pile. So what you can do is, if you wanted to, say you didn't have wheat mill run, say you didn't have rice bran or wheat bran, just take your IMO2, and in this case I took the IMO2 leavings. There it is, that's all the rice. I took those leavings and I threw them into my compost pile. So really I'm kind of skipping a step by putting it on wheat mill run or rice hulls and putting it right with a composted soil or a soil of sorts. You go right to IMO4. So by accident, just doing the video, I skipped over one entire stage, whereas I'm actually doing it by the book, the traditional method. You'll hear me say that a lot of times, traditional method. Traditional method is the Cadillac, but there's other ways to do it. And here you go. You could very well just take your normal compost bin, like I've got here, your tumbly bin, and if you've got some near compost or almost compost, or heck, if you've got real compost, go ahead and either put in some of the stuff you strained out when you originally make it, or just put your IMO2 in here. Put your IMO2 in a liquid form with whatever inputs. In my case, it was molasses, and let it go. Let it grow, guys. And what I will do is water this down just a little bit, and I'll turn it over and I'll let it continue to propagate. So really, in my compost bin, I've got IMO4 from IMO2 and IMO2 leavings. I basically skipped a step. So I hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, it's more of a show and tell than a how-to, but it seems like my little tumbly bin, my little quirk or my little variation on the traditional method works pretty good. So I'm going to be using this stuff in the garden here shortly, and when the other little 2x2 bin with the wheat mill run's done, I'll show you how to take it, mix it with plain soil, and then ferment it for a couple more weeks, or in my case it'd be a little bit longer because it's cold, and you can have your IMO4. That's the stuff you can put straight on the soil. But with this stuff right here that you see here, this is already soil, guys. This is already composted material. I mean, some people would be happy to sift this stuff out and put it right in their garden. What I'm going to do is I'm going to let this IMO3 take over and mix it together and just put it straight in my soil. I guess I may, personally start skipping, one step and going straight to this, because look at the results. That's life. That's what we want. So, all right, guys. Thanks for watching. This is Brian again with Prokashi.com. We'll see you in a couple weeks when we finish out part 3 of the IMO series. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you.